I'm Murtha. I'm currently a serving member in the South Dakota Air National Guard. And every day I see men and women receiving the same benefits while doing the exact same jobs. This makes me wonder, why aren't women required to serve our country when our country needs them the most? This is why I believe women should have to enter the draft. Today I'll be covering with you three main points. First, the draft should include military equality. Second, the draft should be next, since women are now combat eligible. And third, the draft should see that the pros of women in the draft would be very beneficial for the military. In recent months, there's been a lot of talk about women equality, specifically women equality in the military. This leads me to my first main point. First, the draft should include military equality. In a February 2013 article published on womensnews.org, we're given a very valid argument from Kristen Tetzi. She tried to sign up for the draft, but was denied. When Kristen Tetzi logged on to the Selective Service website, she went to fill in her gender, and when she selected female, she is automatically denied and rerouted to another site which explained to her why women aren't eligible for the draft. This automatically enraged her. Kristen believes that men and women should equally be obligated to serve our country when our country needs us the most. Another article published on February 2014 on sss.gov tells us military history and women in the draft. In this article, it tells us that in World War II, women were very close to being drafted for their need of military nurses. But due to a sudden increase in volunteerism, the draft for women was no longer needed. But in recent years, including just last year, the Department of Defense required that President Obama request Congress to review the Selective Service Act, and specifically review the part of women in the draft. The Congress said it is constitutional that only men are required to be in the draft because women have a policy that doesn't allow them to, because there's a Department of Defense policy not allowing women eligible for combat. So in my first main point, I told you why women are as equally as obligated as men to serve our country, and how our country has tried several times to draft women, but have not yet been successful. But recently, people have been taking action, and they've been succeeding. So in my second main point, I will tell you why the draft should be next for women, since they are now combat eligible. In an October 2014 article on csmonitor.com, it will tell us why women might soon be draft eligible. In this article, we're told that Norway became the first NATO country to require its women to sign up for the draft. And the U.S. has taken notice, since Congress's only argument against not allowing women in the draft is that the Department of Defense has a policy against them. The Pentagon has recently lifted this ban, allowing women eligible for combat, therefore taking away Congress's only argument. A lot of analysts say that the next logical move for the U.S. is to allow women in the draft. Another article published on November 2014 on mentalworld.org also tells us why the draft might be next for women. In this article, we're told that reservists call for women to be eligible for the draft. Their main points were that nearly 14% of all active duty members are women, and over 1/5 of National Guard or Reserve members are also women. This just makes it seem logical that we'd allow them to register for the draft if already that many are serving our country. In my second main point, I told you why the draft should be next, since women are already combat eligible. And there's a lot of positives of women being in the draft, which leads me to my third and final point. The draft should see that the pros of women in the draft would be very beneficial for the military. In the 2006 Handbook of Sociology of Military, we're told why women are in the military. Women make a very big impact in the military. And some of the reasons are that they make great nurses. With their motherly instinct, they are able to care for patients better than any male nurse could. And because of this, they make better nurses and are very more efficient in this field. But a lot of psychologists believe that women are not mentally capable of being able to handle combat, which this has been disproved recently with the Pentagon's ban being lifted for women being eligible for combat, which in 2016 they will be eligible. Another article tells us of a January 2015 NLCATP.org article tells us of pros of women in the military. This article tells us that women are a lot more tech savvy than men these days, and almost all combat these days is technical and tactical. Therefore, women would fit in just fine in combat jobs, and they might even do better than some men. They'd be able to be trained for the physical and mental aspect of it, but they'd already have the technical and tactical aspect. And also not allowing women to enter the draft is minimizing the amount of people that our military can choose from to serve, which is weakening them, because our generals are supposed to pick the very best people to fill their jobs so to make our country and our military stronger. So, in my third main point, I told you why the pros of the draft, the pros of having women in the military would be very beneficial for the military. So, now let's review. Women should have to sign up for the draft. This is what I talked to you about today. Everything from the draft having military equality to the draft being next, since women are now combat eligible, and the draft should see the pros of having women in the military and how beneficial they could be. So I encourage all women to stand up, join men, and defend our country that we all love and we all call home, the United States of America.